Well, hello there, my fellow Doombots and Laverian citizens, and I finally got the chance to watch The Smashing Machine, the movie with all the hypes, the movie that got a 15-minute standing ovation, where The Rock, Emily Blunt, and the director Benny Safdie were crying. And let me tell you, I got some thoughts on this movie. It was a very intense film to go watch in the theater. I just gotta say it did not disappoint. There was a lot of hype for this, especially for it being Benny Safdie's official solo debut as a director, because I freaking love Benny Safdie. I think him and his brother are both so talented, directing movies such as Good Time and Uncut Gems that both got career-defining performances out of their lead actors, especially for Robert Pattinson. The co-star of that movie was Benny Safdie himself. He was such a revelation in the film. In Good Time, I really got to see a different side of Robert Pattinson. Before that, I only knew him as the kid who did Twilight, and ever since Good Times, I've been seeing him as a real actor, and of course that eventually led to him playing Batman. I don't know if it was specifically because of that, but let me just tell you that Benny Safdie and his brother get the best of their lead actors. They did it with Adam Sandler, did it with Robert Pattinson, and now they freaking did it with Dwayne Johnson. And whoa, I watched this film and I really did not recognize Dwayne Johnson in the role. Made the character of Mark Kerr a real life MMA fighter who fought in UFC, who fought in Pride, one of the pioneers of the sports of mixed martial arts. He really embodied the character with a little bit of prosthetics on his nose and on his eyebrow. It really felt like you were watching, a real-life documentary. And this film is also based upon a documentary by the same name as The Smashing Machine. And that's also a little bit how the pacing of this film feels. It feels like a lot of loose scenes that are set in a certain space of time. I think it was 1997 until 2000, where Mark Kerr was entering this gigantic fighting tournament in Pride, I believe. And while you're watching it, there's a lot of tension between Mark Kerr in this film and his wife, Dawn Staples. Whoa, they have a very, very toxic relationship in here. And it's very hard for me to see why they love each other actually in this film. But that's also only we get a couple of scenes. But you don't really get the background of a lot of these characters. This movie really feels like a love letter to MMA. It really feels like a love letter to the history of the sport of mixed martial arts. And as Dwayne Johnson really wanting to give love to those that pioneered the sport of MMA. And you can see that Benny Safdie also really cares for the authenticity of this film, not only by how he made the movie look. There are certain scenes that it literally looks like you're watching an old school Pride fight, but also the cast. We get Ryan Bader playing Mark Coleman. Ryan Bader, if you don't know, I don't know if he's right now the Bellator MMA champion, but I know he was a Bellator heavyweight MMA champion. He was a UFC contender. Ryan Bader was actually the person who surprised me the most. Had no idea that he could act this well, and at certain points, at certain scenes with him and Dwayne Johnson, I literally got goosebumps from the way Ryan Bader was acting opposite Dwayne Johnson. They were both great, but I was very surprised at the acting ability of Ryan Bader in this film. Another standout who is always good in a movie is Bas Rutten. Is a Dutch fighter, accomplished so much in the sport of MMA. He was a UFC champion. I think he was a Pancrase and Pride fighter, if I believe. I'm not sure if he was also in Pride, but I know he was in Pancrase. And yeah, he was iconic. I always love Bas Rutten in movies. He was also in that one Kevin James movie where he also played the trailer, but Bas Rutten in this film actually plays himself because it turns out that Bas Rutten was actually also a coach of Mark Kerr. And yeah, he does a great job in this film. Another person who you also cannot overlook here is that current heavyweight boxing champion, Alexander Usyk. And let me tell you, I had no idea that Alexander Usyk could do all of these crazy spinning kicks that he's doing in the film. I had no idea, but yeah, of course, he's a crazy Ukrainian super athlete. And Alexander Usyk plays Igor Vovchanchyn in this film, and he also does a fine job. Doesn't really have any speaking moments in the film because also Igor Vovchanchyn doesn't really speak English, I believe. At least he doesn't really do it in this film, the character of him. So Dwayne Johnson has done a great job in this film. I really do believe that this is going to broaden his horizon when it comes to performances and characters he can take on. And this is a great stop for Dwayne Johnson to move away from just The Rock, the Hollywood star, and become more of a serious actor, a new chapter in his career. And you can also see that in his physique that has been changing. It has been reported that he's also working on another movie with Benny Safdie, where he will be playing a chicken man, I believe, which is based on an old children's book. And I'm very excited to see more of Dwayne Johnson. I gotta say that I was mesmerized by his performance here. I thought it was I almost felt like I was just watching a documentary, and that makes a lot of sense because it was based on a documentary. And yeah, I cannot wait for what Dwayne Johnson does next. I'm a big fan of what he did in this film, and I think that this is his best performance, and I cannot wait what he does in the future. And maybe it's also better for his health if he slims down a little bit, because it's very hard for your body to keep on the mass. And let me tell you, he was gigantic in this film. Marker was an absolute specimen, and Dwayne Johnson really embodied that. I've never seen anybody so big, so freaking massive in a movie role as Dwayne Johnson. And I think this was a great ending to that physique. Of course, he can get it back, but I think it is also healthier for him if he slims down a little bit. So I hope it's not for any health complications, but I think if it is a decision he made for his health and to broaden his acting career, I think that's great, and I applaud Dwayne Johnson for it. And yeah, I do believe that he could be an Oscar contender depending on what comes out next. I also know that the other Safdie brother, I forget his name right now, is also directing another biopic, which is starring Timothée Chalamet, which we all know that Timothée Chalamet is this close to getting that freaking Oscar. He is also a star on the rise, but I wouldn't be against Dwayne Johnson at least getting a nomination, and depending on what performances come out, also maybe get the Oscar. I do really recommend that you go watch this movie in the theater if you're a fan of fight sports. If you like MMA or boxing or whatever, I would really recommend you go watch it, support this film in the theater. A couple of movies that I think you would also like, or if you like these, you also like The Smashing Machine, are The Fighter, of course, starring Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale, The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, and also The Warrior starring Tom Hardy, and I forget the name of his co-star. But if you like these three movies, this got a similar kind of pacing to The Smashing Machine, and I really think that if you like these, that you should go watch The Smashing Machine in the theater, because it's worth watching in the cinema. It has good acting. It feels like a real love letter to MMA. The only downside I got for this film is really the unexplored background information. I don't really know everything that is going on. There's a bunch of stuff in this film that is not really explored, such as why is Mark Kerr abusing so many drugs, and why is he taking all of these painkillers, because he's always taking painkillers, something that happened in his childhood or anything like that. So there is a bunch of information that I think we could have gotten deeper into, but this is also a very specific part in time. And it does really feel like a documentary, but then filmed as a biopic. Overall, I think this is a great directing debut for Benny Safdie as a solo director, and I cannot wait for what he does next. Well, that was my time, my fellow Doombots. Did you watch The Smashing Machine? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? Doombot out, and have yourself a happy Doomsday.